Altos is brought to you with the kind compliments of Rituals Coffee House.
Good evening and welcome to Altos, a weekly news and current affairs program produced by the Catholic News and shown here on Trinity TV and on TTT. I'm Neil Parsonlal. Here's a look at this week's top stories. Golden Grove prisoners present a 12 days of Christmas wish list to Archbishop Jason Gordon. The Apostolic Pronuncio speaks to the virtues of Mary as he cautions against mediocrity. The Presbyterian Church in Carolina opens its doors to Roman Catholic faithful to worship. We'll tell you why. 2 Catholic schools win boys and girls intercol championships, and later we speak with Nigel Phillip, president of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, on how your generosity can make a difference in someone's life this Christmas. And now to our top story. Inmates of the Golden Grove prison presented a 12 days of Christmas wish list to Archbishop Charles Jason Gordon. His Grace paid a visit to Golden Grove on Wednesday this week and got more than he expected in this Christmas visit, as inmates known for their versatility and talent had His Grace and his team in laughter as they belted out their version of the 12 Days of Christmas, turning the classic tune into a wish list anthem that had everyone, from prison officers to Archbishop Gordon, erupting in laughter. Led by the lively MC for the day, prison officer Wendell Bompart, the inmates showcased their talent for extempo, transforming what could have been an ordinary visit into a holiday delight to remember as they belted out unique and very specific prison-inspired wishes. 12 men on bail, 11 CTOs, 10 hours airing, 9 jail wine, 8 visit bags, 7 sweetbread, 6 chicken and chips, 5 days off, 4 pounds grapes, 3 bourbon biscuits, 2 blessings, and a canteen I don't have to pay. The rare treat was part of Archbishop Gordon's week-long annual prison tour, which began at the Port of Spain prison on Tuesday and concluded at the Carrera Island prison today, Friday. Yesterday, he was at the Eastern Regional Correctional Facility in Arima. The Archbishop met inmates and gave out care packages. The inmates were happy to meet the Archbishop and grateful for the gesture. Mediocrity should not be used as an excuse to renounce a life of holiness. This instruction came from Apostolic Nuncio, His Excellency Santiago de Witt Guzman, as he presided at Mass on the Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception on Monday at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception in Port of Spain. Archbishop Charles Jason Gordon and other priests concelebrated. We have more in this report from Laura Pickford Gordon.
The Virgin plays an important role in Christian life. She is the mother at the foot of the cross whom Christ entrusted to us, capable of comforting and alleviating the helplessness in the face of life's setbacks. Archbishop de Witt Guzman also reminded the congregation of the significance of the other teachings from the Blessed Mother's life.
She is not only the one who invites us to trust in God and in His plans. She is the first to remind us that God is truthful, because the work of plenitude that He has accomplished in her, He will also accomplish in us.
He noted that if Catholics truly believed God called them by name and entrusted them with the task of making the gospel known, then the exercise of freedom in doing so will be decisive, and there will be joy and enthusiasm.
We should never lose the ability to be amazed by what God has put in our lives and by what He wants and expects from us. It would help us to keep alive our thanksgiving to God and avoid using our mediocrity as an excuse to renounce holiness in our lives.
Mary's testimony, he said, is affirmation that holiness is the certain path to happiness. But there must be fidelity.
Fidelity to the small and important things that nourish our vocation and through which we learn the faithfulness of God and the power of His love in us.
This is Lara Pickford Gordon for Catholic News, Altos.
For just under 2 years, the community of Carolina in the Couva Parish has been attending Mass at the Bethel Presbyterian Church in Carolina. Why, you may ask? Well, about 7 years ago, during heavy winds and rain, the roof of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception Church in Carolina blew off, leaving the community without a space for Mass. That is, until Father Trevor Nathersing took up the position of parish priest in early 2023. He spoke to the elders of the Presbyterian Church, and the rest, as they say, is history. Last weekend, the community celebrated its feast day in the Presbyterian Church, but it's something Father Nathersing is hoping will change very soon. Altos videographer Barry Sidenio and Roger Sant bring us this report.
It's hard to believe that this building, standing abandoned and overgrown with bushes, was once the church where Catholic faithful came together to worship. The church dedicated to Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception stands as a symbol to the people of this rural community. Some have left the faith and the numbers have diminished. But for the faithful who turn out every Sunday at the Bethel Presbyterian Church to practice their Catholic faith, they are just grateful that someone is finally taking an interest in them. That person is parish priest Father Trevor Nathersing. He led Mass on the feast of the patron saint of the community on Sunday, thanking the Presbyterian community for allowing the use of the Presbyterian Church, and he urged the faithful never to lose hope.
Never forget that what is beyond human beings is never beyond God. What seems impossible for men and women is never impossible for God. You see, all God wanted was Mary's yes. He wanted a free consent. And that's all God wants from you and I.
Following the Mass, Father Trevor visited the bush-covered church with Altos, noting that in the 7 years since the roof blew off the building, nothing has happened.
When I came down, I approached the Presbyterian community, and they gave us consent to use their house of worship.
With Catholics leaving and joining other small churches, he knew he had to do something.
We just want to highlight this deplorable state of this former place of worship. It is my hope that the community will rally around and we would be able in the near future to do something about restoring it, but not only so much, but restoring the community. So yesterday we had a first walk, a public walk, praying the rosary and singing some songs and encouraging the people to get their faith life in order. And so we trust that God's goodness will accompany us.
Father Trevor is hoping there would be a rallying of forces to restore the once pristine structure. And he is confident that with the blessing of Our Lady and the help of the community of Roman Catholics, restoration is imminent. I'm Roger Sant reporting for Catholic News Altos.
Prior to Sunday's celebration of the Feast of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception at the Bethel Presbyterian Church in Carolina, a number of faithful from the community were joined by parishioners from St. Paul's Roman Catholic Church in Couva and members of the Franciscan House of Prayer in Sangre Grande for recitation of the Rosary, intercessions of prayer, and songs of praise in what Father Trevor hopes will be a new awakening and a rekindling of the spirit of the rural community of Carolina. Archbishop Gordon has another challenge for us Roman Catholics as we continue to observe the season of Advent. Last week, His Grace challenged us to have one holy moment in which we were to become completely connected with God and to do whatever we felt God was asking of us. This week, His challenge is for us to focus on peace and in particular, what we say.
What's the greatest source of contention that we have? Our tongue. Our tongue. Could we in week 2 do holy moments around our tongue? What do I mean by that? So, somebody says something, you want to respond. Could you pause? Could you become conscious of God's presence? And could you ask God, okay, how should I respond in this? And respond however God is asking you to respond. This week, we're building peace. Peace in your family, peace in your workplace, peace wherever you are. Let us become the source of peace because Advent, we're preparing for the Prince of Peace to come into our world. Challenge for week 2, peace. How? Holy moments by looking at our tongue and by how we're responding to one another.
Father Jason Grell says the creche is a reminder of God's tender love for mankind, teaches us to serve others, and presents us with the opportunity to pass on the faith to others. Father Grell last week blessed the creche at the San Fernando Boys RC School. Laura Pickford-Gordon has more in this report.
Students gathered along the corridors and in the yard of the San Fernando Boys RC School last week for the blessing of the creche by Father Jason Grell. Delivering a brief discourse before the blessing, Father Grell reminded the students and their teachers that in Jesus we are blessed, sustained, and renewed. And the creche focuses our attention on God's love for mankind.
And so setting up the Christmas creche in our homes, in our schools, in our cities or in public places helps us to relieve the history of what took place in Bethlehem. My dear boys, the Christmas creche is part of the precious yet demanding process of passing on the faith.
Father Grell urged them to remember the words of Pope Francis, who said, quote, "It does not matter how the nativity scene is arranged. What matters is that it speaks to our lives." End quote.
And so it is wise to keep setting up the Christmas creche every year in our homes, in our schools, in public places, because its closeness brings light and blessings where there is darkness, and shows the way to those dwelling in the shadow of suffering.
Although schools are closed, the creche is strategically set up in the schoolyard, and as he blessed the creche, Father Grell prayed that it would touch the lives of all those who look at it.
Lord, bless all who look upon this nature. May it remind us of the humble birth of Jesus, and raise up our thoughts to him, who is God with us and Savior of all, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen. What a mighty God.
I am Laura Pickford-Gordon for Catholic News, Altos.
And we move from a boys' school in the south to a girls' school in North Trinidad. The St. Teresa's Girls RC School in Woodbrook held its Christmas concert on Tuesday, December 13th. It marked the resumption of the concert after being on hiatus during the COVID-19 pandemic. All classes participated. The school's panside performed some songs of the season under the guidance of tutor Wayne Wright Telesford. Let's take in a bit of the local classic. And we stay with our Catholic schools. Christmas caroling may not be as popular as, say, paranging from house to house, but students of the Mayo RC 4-H Club, accompanied by parents and teachers, walked the wet streets on Tuesday, December 3rd, to perform a few Christmas carols in the small central Trinidad community of Mayo. It had not been done for some time, and community residents were said to deeply appreciate the gesture. And as part of their outreach initiative, items collected by the school body were presented to families in need in the community. Well done by the school for their charity work and keeping Christmas caroling alive. And now it's time to take a short break. But before we do that, here's a look at this week's trivia question. When we return from the break, we speak with Nigel Phillip of the St. Vincent de Paul Society. Thanks very much for staying with us. Nigel Phillip is the current president of the St. Vincent de Paul Society, a long-standing charity in the Catholic Church worldwide and a staple here home as well. The SVP, as they're called, operates numerous outreach centers, shelters for the homeless, and soup kitchens, where persons can get a hot meal on any given day. Nigel, welcome back to the set of Altos.
Thank you very much, Neil.
It's always good to have you, and especially now during the season of Advent as we go into Christmas. What is the current status of the SVP in Trinidad and Tobago? It doesn't appear as though you're as visible in our parish churches as before.
Okay, so the visible appearance of the SCP, we have 65 conferences across Trinidad and Tobago. Now, the society is an aging society because most of the persons who are involved in the SCP or St. Vincent de Paul are mainly over the age of 60. I would say maybe 3/4 of our organization are persons over the age of 60. We do have younger persons who are joining the society, but as we all know, with all ministries in the church, there is a challenge with persons volunteering or volunteerism on the whole. So some of the parishes have died out in some of those conferences in the parishes throughout, and there are some active conferences in some of the parishes that we have existing right now.
But Nigel, the needs of society, the needs of the homeless, the poor, the indigent, that's not going away at all. How is the SVP handling that, especially now going into Christmas?
No, well, we have, okay, right now we have an abundance of persons requesting support from us. And because the SVP, or St. Vincent de Paul, has been known over the years as one of the arms in the church, even though we're not directly part of the church, that person look to for support. And normally, those support will come from parishioners or corporate sometimes, or persons who well-wishers who off the street will give to us. But due to over a period of time and the economy, those types of donation has dwindled. However, we are challenged at times in providing the support sometimes. We try to have various fundraisers, the cruises, just recently we had a raffle, and those monies that we get is to offset some of the expenses of the organization and also to provide support to the people that we serve within the communities. If I may have plug in here, each conference are placed in various parishes. So we have maybe Tobago, we have St. Joseph Conference or Patience Hill Conference, or we will have Northwest, those areas. So persons within those parishes, we have a monthly collection that is collected on behalf of the society in the church, and those monies will go to provide food for the vulnerable groups, and not just food, but also healthcare supplies, sometimes back to school supplies and those things. So it's all about engaging and networking with one another.
So is it, if I'm hearing you correctly, we are in fact receiving less. You're receiving less from parishioners and from corporate Trinidad as well.
Yeah, we definitely receiving less because persons are not given, because of the economy. We saw persons losing jobs. We saw the aspect of COVID would have happened, and that would have taken a direct hit at the organization, where funds that used to be what used to be there are no longer there. It also seen to the point that we had to close some of our homes that provide support, and even the persons in our homes, you would see that they don't pay the normal fee of any existing home, because the mandate of the society is to provide that support. And you would have also seen aspect of with the closure of CSDP, Center for Socially Displaced Persons, and you see without a whole influx after that closure, persons going to Port of Spain, and we still provide support to those homeless persons who would have been at the center by in a way of food or clothing, and sometimes medical aspect as well, to some of the same services that we still provide. So it hasn't stopped the work in what we are doing. However, it is more of an area of having to come up with new ideas, new initiative to do the work that we are doing.
And tell us about those new ideas now, going into 2025. What are some of the new ideas that the society might have to be able to increase the funding that is available or so much needed for the society to continue its operations?
Well, new ideas would be in terms of various fundraisers. We have the boat cruise that are coming up, and that should be somewhere around March, or it would be advertised and you'll see it in the Catholic news. Conferences will have aspect of barbecues. We have raffles. We have maybe a bingo, different thing. But even though we have those ideas, and I would have started off my conversation that we are agents of society. Some of our members are able-bodied, some of our members are not able-bodied, but again, that don't stop them from doing the work that we have to do. We continue to knock on the door of corporate organizations to provide the support, and providing the support is a way of also having to offset some of the expenses that we have with other agencies and those things that we would have gotten or taken on a time to pay back those loans and those things. But we will get there, even to the fact that maybe we're looking at also maybe selling one or two of our properties, as long as we can do so, to also try and offset those expenses that we have, and to bring the society into a place that we could be more manageable in the sense of going forward.
So you have less funding coming in, you have more persons requiring assistance, and you have Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And you have Christmas. How are you managing?
And God alone knows. But what I would say, I must commend the work of all the conferences throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Now, some conferences are stronger than the others. And the reason why I say stronger, because we have conferences maybe in the West that, we have more corporate persons attending masses down there. And even in Tobago, we will have the support of persons giving. So what happens, parishioners would give out of their earnings every month or so to the society, right? We have boxes set up in the church in some of the parishes that also collect money on behalf of the society. We have, one of the things I would say, we have parish priests who also give that support in terms of how we can get additional support. So sometimes they would say, have a hamper drive, bringing bags. We have bags and parishioners will take the bag and bring it back filled with goods and those things. We have thrift shops, which we have clothing that we sell at a cheaper price, new and used clothing in good condition, that also provide that support in doing the work that we do. So we serve, I would say, and coming from the conferences, we serve between a range of between 20 to 90 families every month, or sometimes even during
Nigel, tell me, we have to wrap up now, but is there a number that persons can contact the society if they wish to donate anything?
Yeah, persons, I would say they can contact me directly at 729-5818, and I would pass whatever additional information on to other persons for assistance or support.
Nigel, thanks very much for joining us. We hope that the funding increases and that we're able to help as many more people as we can during this Christmas season.
Yeah, thank you, Neil.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Take care.
An undefeated season in any sport is a rarity, and St. Benedict's College achieved just that in 2024, when they beat all comers to pick up the league and intercol football titles. Led by prolific goal scorer Daryl Garcia, who netted 25 times, the 2024 La Romaine Lions etched their names in the record books as one of the best school teams ever. Roger Santos more in this report.
When the final whistle blew at the Attobolden Stadium on Thursday, December 5th, St. Benedict's College had done the unthinkable, winning the intercol title, defeating Fatima 2-0 to cap off an unbeaten season with a record of 20 games, 18 wins, 2 on penalties, and 2 draws.
We are totally joyous and grateful to God for this victory of South Zone Intercol champions and national intercol champions. We went through this season undefeated, and some of the matches we had to come from behind to win. So this intercol title and this season has been a tremendous one for St. Benedict's College.
As the drums of celebration reverberated throughout the schools celebrating the win afterwards, this man was pivotal. Daryl Zoom Zoom Garcia, a 17-year-old Form 4 student who scored 25 times, 17 in the league from 10 games as he missed the first 5, and then 8 goals in 5 intercol games, including 2 in the final. That's better than a goal per game.
Everybody wanted to beat Benedict, so all we just had to do just to stay focused and prepare for one game at a time. The support I was getting from my family and my school, it was very great, and I was making them proud.
And he revealed how he got the nickname Zoom Zoom.
Well, people used to say I fast and thing. I was a runner. I used to run track before.
While Garcia was making sure Benedict's was strong offensively, goalkeeper Tane Devnish credited his defense for the unbeaten season.
I give great respect to my defenders because, in my opinion, they saved the team. What my coach told me is that defense wins championships. So once you have a great defense, you should be fine.
2 trophies and an unbeaten season, one which will go down in the record books in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Roger Sant reporting for Catholic News Altos.
And on the girls' side, it was an historic first national intercol title for St. Joseph's Convent, Port of Spain. As Roger Sant tells us, the school has been building towards this achievement for the last 3 years.
St. Joseph's Convent defeated Pleasantville Secondary in the Coca-Cola Intercol final on Thursday on penalties after a 1-1 regulation draw. Pleasantville earlier this season won the girls' Big Five competition and were looking to double up just like St. Benedict's. Reflecting on the season, Coach Junior Maxwell told Altos this has been in the making for some years.
Over the years, we kept getting better and better and better. For the last 3 years after COVID, myself and Tasha St. Louis, ex-national player, came together and we brought this team from then to now, and over the last 3 years, we've won 2 North Zone Intercol, we've won the league twice, and this year, for 2024, we brought home the National Intercol title back to St. Joseph Convent for the first time.
He said as well his team benefited from having several national players in the setup, and some of the players shared their feelings on winning the Coca-Cola Intercol title.
Of course, it feels wonderful because look at the big trophy we get, because we worked so hard for this. Over the past 3 years, we've been developing and getting better every year. And I think we tried very hard to all adopt one mindset throughout the year, and that kind of led to us going forward as a team, having that one mindset, and overall, it's won us a title.
This title will definitely put us on the map when it comes to our presence, and I believe that it will bring even more improvement for the future.
The coaches would love to encourage the team to keep pushing hard to continue, hopefully retain the title. A lot of the players who are leaving, the goal would be to continue the support and encourage that other students continue to come out and support the team, not just for certain games. I think the main goal, however, would really be to retain the title and continue to win more titles.
I'm Roger Sant for Catholic News Altos.
We offer our congratulations to all our Catholic schools. Let's have a look at what's in store in this week's edition of the Catholic News with editor Raymond Sims.
In this week's issue of the Catholic News, Judy Joseph McSween shows how good listening is necessary on the synodal journey. And have you jumped the gun and begun listening to some Christmas music already? Read how music can help shape your Advent. I am Raymond Sims, editor of the Catholic News.
And that's a wrap for our show this week. We continue to urge you to pray for Trinidad and Tobago, to read your Bible, learn your faith, and practice the holy moments as Archbishop Gordon invites us to. That's a wrap for our show this week. We leave you with some of the images of the performances of the children from the Parish Ministry for Migrant and Refugees Children Friendly Space at Carapichaima as they presented the Christmas story on Thursday, December 5th. Do have a good week, everyone.
Altos is brought to you with the kind compliments of Rituals Coffee House.